Hey, Craig.
Jason.
Hey, Craig.
Are you there, Jason?
Craig.
Jason.
You know
Oh, there you are.
You know what time it is? I'm excited. I'm excited.
Why did we keep... Who is it?
You know what time it is?
Do we have somebody this week?
We do. And it's Startup Agency Mentor Masterclass with the legend, Ryan Chao.
Whoa.
I'm going to dip my toe in and then get all up in this biz.
I'm going to fizzle that thing around till it's a sizzle dizzle.
Buckle up. It's the Insurance Dudes Podcast.
Okay, you with me?
Boom!
There he is. The very first, right off the bat, even before salutations, is bitchin' a curse word?
That's the big question. And then we're done with...
I don't know. Is jackass a curse word? I don't know.
That's a good one, too.
It was the name of a movie. I mean, I don't think you can have the curse word as the name of the movie. Like, could you call it a movie F-bomb? Well, I mean, okay, it could be it's the back room of the rental store, but you know, not mainstream.
You're in that back room?
No, I'm suggesting that it likely is back there.
So you're saying if it's a cuss word in a title, then that negates the actual meaning of the word, right?
I think title of a mainstream movie, like, you know, something that's at the regular movie theater.
Right. We'll see.
What
maybe Disney be the first to attempt that.
We are off to a killer start. Everybody's going to be contemplating whether or not jackass or bitchin' are curse words for the rest of the day. Everybody ask everybody.
Yeah. Let's put up a poll.
Yep.
Is poll a curse word? I don't know.
I think I'm going to start a new face group called the Bitchin' Jackasses.
They'll come in droves. 10,000 members.
Right. There you go. Big time. It's all in the name, buddy.
But yeah, high quality, just waiting to buy your stuff.
Well, man,
Ryan Chao. How you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing really well. Man, I'm just in the thick of it, getting this new agency up and running. And didn't you say, Jason, that you were going ECP as well?
Yes, October 1st.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, I'm
prepared.
No, I mean I'm doing the work, but am I ready? Not even close.
Yeah. If I could show you what my office looks like right now, it would be a disaster. But it's organized. It's organized chaos, is what it is.
What are you working on right now? What's the number one thing right now?
Selling.
Oh, when did you open?
I opened up September 1.
September 1. Gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm selling.
Filling those pipelines.
Yeah. Fill the pipeline, right? What's your goal for day one, September 1st?
80 items.
Yeah. We're
on item 20 now.
There you go.
Nice.
We've done it for 2 days. We've been up and selling for 2 days so far.
They're not bound. And if we need to chop this out for any reason, then
no, we're good. No, we're ready. We have payment on several, but I will tell you that when they have to get bound, they don't get bound to me. So I'm writing for another agent right now on the ones that I do have to bind. But I'll tell you right now that the money that I'm spending in marketing has proven, with the right LSPs and the right coaching, you know, and the right talk path, as you well know, you're going to be able to write, 10 to 20 items a day if you have the right process in place and if you have the right market. A lot of people obviously would laugh at this because they're in markets where it's very hard to sell at the moment. But in a market like Georgia, we can crush it.
That's awesome.
Well, in any market, though, you could figure out how many it's going to raise your cost, right? But you can figure out how many you need to sell in order to, or how many you need to quote in order to sell, right?
Right. And that's the key. I mean, that's really knowing your cost of acquisition, what you're willing to pay to acquire each item, right? And understanding how you make money and what you're willing to spend to generate revenue. That's part of being prepared. You know what I think? Have been some of the past failures of agents, anybody in business, right, is when they start their business, they have really engineered mediocrity or smallness into their business plan.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
So
you can almost zoom out of that, and
right.
you can almost say people accept mediocrity in their life. Like just everything, like goals are so low and everything's so low.
And they organize that business plan to mirror what they know in their personal lives. And before you know it, they realize after year one, they haven't built that pipeline, or they haven't built that revenue or that book of business to a point that'll sustain them. And then the clock starts ticking. So I went on a plan with that y'all remember the ADV plan?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that was a day one eye opener for me. So if you have anything in your life, right, that you can go back and repeat, right, and you had a second chance, right, and you have, like high school, right, I'd be a stud.
Oh, man.
Oh, man. Imagine. We tear it up, wouldn't we?
Game changer.
Right. Yeah. So, but going back to, I was a scratch agent before 2 years ago, actually about almost 3 years ago now. Actually, 3 years ago, September 1. It's kind of ironic.
Wow.
So I was a scratch agent, and I came in knowing nothing. I had some business background, business experience, but this industry is a totally different beast than what I was used to. Yep. And not knowing what it took with the right perspective, the right processes, the right marketing, and definitely the right personnel, and being prepared, I accepted mediocrity and less than every day, and eventually talked myself out of the industry and out of the agency. So I sold it. But I looked back on it and I said, if I had it all to do over again, I would be so prepared and I would swing for the fences, So I took a step back and actually got hired by one of the larger agencies in the country. And they gave me the opportunity to learn a tremendous amount. And because of that, I stepped back and worked with another agent before I started, because he's crushing it in Georgia, writing over 150 to 200,000 in premium a month with just a team of 4. And I went and worked in his agency for 5 weeks, and I realized what he was doing versus the background plus the training that I just had with this other agent. And I looked at it, I said, man, I had engineered so much mediocrity into my business plan when I first started, and I'm engineering success. And it's all about putting together. First of all, you got to know how you make your money, right? So with your revenue streams and understanding what your overhead, what your net profit will be, what your expenses obviously are, and knowing how you're going to generate revenue and what you're willing to pay, right, to acquire that business, right, and understanding your ROI, then you can engineer success in your business plan. And I really feel like that's what we've done. And seeing it played out in that other agency that I'm still kind of writing business for, seeing that played out day in, day out, gives me the confidence to really swing for the fences. I mean, I'm talking, for me, it's a big, big swing, but I'm 20,000 in so far into marketing. I'm 20,000 in my marketing expenses so far, and I'm already seeing the gain.
And no pay, that's not including payroll, right?
No, payroll. Yeah. We're going to have a tremendous overhead. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Overhead should be, if you are in a territory, right, if you're in a region where your average premium per item is about $750 to $850, man, I'm telling you, you're in the way the EAOT works and the way this program works, you shouldn't even balk at a $250 item acquisition cost. Not even bat an eye.
Right.
So just being prepared and knowing how you make that money, right? And then backing into it and having that $100,000 at startup, that's a true thing. That's a real thing. A lot of these people don't really understand, right? Because you guys are agency owners, so you know what it takes to generate that revenue and know what it takes to keep the personnel and train. You know the process. I mean,
Right.
So, and here's another argument, like you're talking about just the front end break-even point, right? Well, what about the back end? Like, what about the fact that most of your clients are probably going to stay with you, 6 years? So even if you're losing a little bit on the front end, it's still worth it because you're still going to make more.
Absolutely. And if you factor all that in and really run out that business plan and that model and really model it out and really understand that P&L as it goes through year 1, 2, 3, 4, and even 5, it's a no-brainer to spend the money.
Totally. So. But here's the from the other side. So what about the person that has been on the fence that doesn't necessarily have the means and they do want to swing for the fences? Do they do it or do they keep waiting? You know what I mean?
Gosh, I don't know. I think
questions.
I was looking at it, weren't you? You were looking at it. I think the industry's changing. I think now is the time to take action. And I wouldn't hesitate. I mean, I see that I can't see past 5 years in this industry. I don't know the dynamics of artificial intelligence with everything happening. We know our competition, what's happening there. And there's the dynamics of the auto industry and some of the automation that's coming into that and self-driving. I think we're going to be in for a rude awakening, I think, in the next 5 years, 10 years. So I think now is the time to take action and to take advantage of the industry as it is now, because I feel good about it. I feel great the next 3 to 5 years. But, I have no problem spending what I got to spend in order to grow that business, right?
Look at what the cost of being risk averse and waiting until now was, right? Like 3 months ago, unlimited upside, right? Now, whoop,
right,
stop at 5. So that changes a lot, right? I mean, maybe it makes it a little easier because you don't have to scale as much. So you're swinging for the fences is a little more realistic, but I think we're also a lot of agents or new ones that were in your position 3 years ago, Ryan, fall short is not understanding that month 1 isn't time to learn, right? This isn't time to figure out which phone system to buy, what leads to get. Like that was supposed to be figured out 5 months ago, right?
What we don't realize the most people that are coming into this industry, they don't realize the undertaking and they don't realize the amount of details that have to go in to establishing your process, establishing your resources, establishing your office environment, your personnel, and getting everything fluid before day 1. They start that process on day 1 and it's 30 to 60, 90 days gone before they start getting their act together. And they realize I've just lost so much opportunity for growth and so much opportunity to create revenue for myself. Then they start thinking about downsizing and they literally after six months, they're cutting people and they're trying to say, how do I make a living out of this if I can do it on my own? And then that's not the mindset you have to have in if you want to crush it. But with a great market, with a great company name, great product, this is the time to jump in and really have an incredible game plan. I will tell you, I came in with a decent game plan on day 1, and man, I really did come out swinging well. And after about 1.5 years in, I started seeing the writing on the wall. After the plan, the ADV was gone, I was going to struggle to make enough income to sustain. You know what I mean? Totally. So if you're not coming out, Jason, how about you? How much is your is the premium per item in your state?
I am right around 550 right now.
Yeah. So that's a little bit lower, right? So backing in and
but don't worry, bills aren't expensive here in California. So
yeah, that's the good thing. Rent's almost nothing.
That's funny. That's funny.
Yeah, we're at about 600. My agency does about 700 because we spend a little bit more time,
right,
and go over those coverages. Now, in the ECP model, I don't know if it needs to be more. You just got to blow through them and get to the next one, and get to the next one. So
yeah.
How about that? Do you anticipate spending as much time per each acquisition to really get them where they need to be? Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Okay.
I won today.
Yeah.
I won today by building the wall, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. There you go.
We tripled the coverage. I didn't even talk about price. We got the yes and wrote the home, and it's $5,000 in annualized premium. And we went after coverage. We sold, and that's what Allstate's all about. We're not all about the numbers necessarily as far as how many people we can talk to. It's the quality of conversations that you can have and getting yourself in front of people at the right time. So what I've done is I'm doing the live lead transfers, guys. They are getting the right people that are interested at the right time. These people come in asking for price, right? Can you beat my price? Yep. It's awesome, right? Because we accept that. Sure, let's talk about price. In the back of my mind, I'm always thinking about the price that I'm going to pay for you if you hurt somebody, right? So we have some great conversations building that and helping them understand, right, the importance of coverage. And then we sell the premium. So my average premium here in Georgia is around $772 per item, and I average around $825 per item.
There you go.
So I'm willing to spend $250 per item, because if you look at how you make money on the plan, it's an exponential return. It's a lot.
Totally. Yeah.
You have to refocus their need to where it needs to be, because they come in just exactly what you said with the wrong need.
Right.
They don't understand it, right? All they know is I have to have it and I hate it and it sucks and I pay it every month and you guys are all crooks, right? And we got to change that, because we could be, if you have the accident, if you have the one where you kill somebody, we are the most important person you ever talk to, or we're the worst person if we did it wrong. They're screwed. Like, you literally can lose everything. And it's so funny how, there's the financial advisor is held in such high regard, right? Oh, it's a financial, they're Wall Street. Oh, they're so, but you know what? They take your money and they gamble it. I mean, at the end of the day, they put it in the market and you have no idea what the market's going to do.
Yeah. Right.
And here we are we're protecting that money. Like, we want to make sure that money doesn't leave. And, so it's, and they get that though. When you do, as you said, build the wall, when you show them the need, and then you show them why they need those coverages. I mean, I did one before. I was telling Jason, I did one before. I was on with a client and he had good coverages, 300, but we have an umbrella now because there was a $300,000 gap. But he understood it. I mean, we were on the phone for a half hour. It takes a little time to switch their mind over, but when they get it, and he was talking about, he was in 2 accidents. He got it. He's like, man, I thought I hurt this woman badly, but I didn't even think about that she gets out and says, my neck hurts, and then, and there's attorneys involved. Right. And then that's
right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're selling something that's intangible and that people don't know. So without that, what's that?
No, I had a little bit of breakup. Am I coming in clear for you guys too?
Yeah.
Cut out for just a second, but now we're good.
All right,
my freaking internet. Yeah. So we're basically selling the Mercedes of insurance but nobody can see it. So you have to paint that picture. And that's what people don't understand. You can say it, but they still don't understand it.
Right.
Like, it's just, we have to paint that. And what I really like is the sales process. We get so excited when we sell a policy that's $40 more a month. Like, cause that's an actual salesperson right there. You know what I mean? Somebody that sells something at a lower price is not a salesperson. The internet can do that. Amazon does that. Like, you can automate that. No skill.
Right.
So it's like, yeah, we have to paint that. We have to paint a picture. The better you paint.
I think there's even more to it. There's three. There's your order taker. That's when we're less. There's the salesperson that's slamming them into the thing that is pretty close. And then there's the advisor. Like, we are an advisor. And when we identify their need and then deliver the value, because again, the value doesn't matter. They don't give a shit about what we have in the way of, all these different bells and whistles, right? The gold or the platinum or the purple or whatever, right? They don't care about that. I mean, they're glazed over if you're talking about insurance, but when it serves their need, Jason falls asleep if we start talking about insurance, but it's that need. Like, that need is the critical missing piece that most people don't ever even go into, right? They're good at establishing rapport. Okay, they like me. Now let me show you what we got. Right. But the what you got has to serve it.
I love it when they come in with Geico or State Farm or, any Progressive, thank God. They do such a great job at writing a policy that I would never touch with a 10-foot pole. And when you show them the betrayal that has happened,
the betrayal,
this premium, and in exchange, right, they're giving you nothing when you had that accident. So we're all about a fair exchange. Wouldn't that be right? That's your job to make sure that we educate them, give them as much discount as possible that we can, right? But also give them a fair exchange for what they're paying for. So if I can give you access to 250 or 300 or $1 million, right, for only a few dollars more a month, why wouldn't you take that? Why would you settle for 25, 50 or the state minimum for almost the same amount of money? That's not a fair exchange. So I pivot on that as well, and that works a lot. And
that mentality right there is what's hard to convince other agents. Is that you can, like, it's 3 times more coverage for $10. Can you imagine? You're already paying a couple $100, right? Or a few $100. But for some reason, convincing people to do that process that you just said is so tough. I don't know why.
It's tough because people are so transaction based, and they live their lives that way. Especially younger generations, just the way it is, and they end up selling that way, and they sell out of their own pocket, and they don't find a lot of value in some of the things they're even saying, or sometimes they don't find value in the trusted advisor. And getting them to believe that starts from the head down, and it starts from having that process and that mentality from day one, and not trying to figure it out 60 days, 90 days into your agency, because then you got to let people go because they don't adopt that mentality. They see you flim-flamming. So it's best to have a good talk path right in the very beginning. Best to have a company culture where that is how we lead. We lead with a great talk path and talking about the value of our coverages, right? That's how we lead. And you coach on that, you reinforce that, you pull calls, and you continue to set the expectations, right? You add volume behind that, right, guys? You add lively transfers, and you just get people that are on the phone at the right time, and you have the right process and the value behind what you're selling, you're going to write a lot of business. I was on the phone. I've only spoken with 4 clients today, and Jessica, who's working with me now, she's spoken 5 or 6. We have different approaches. I closed 3 of the 4, and she's closed. I think she's still on her phone call. She's getting payment for the 3rd one today. So it's all about, you can see it in your call volume, right? You can see it in your talk time, and you can see the amount of quotes, and you can really work and back out and see if they're actually following the process. And if they are, it's going to result in items that are being written and your higher premiums as well. And those are the clients that are going to stick with you. Because they're not going to let the Progressive guy goes to State Farms betray them again, right? By taking money and in exchange, give them nothing.
And they're coming to them at price, right? They now understand what it's really all about, that you're the advisor and you've protected them. And they're leading with, hey, I'm going to try to save you, $10 a month.
Right.
Get out of here, clown. They don't want any part of that.
The Allstate's not about the price game necessarily. They're trying to, right, where they're backing down their overhead, and we're potentially going to, have to see that down the road. But I'm telling you, if we stick to the trusted advisor and we put volume behind that, as far as a lot of times you get a great person that's great with people, but they don't like to make those calls, right? But that's okay, guys. That's okay. You're just trying to connect them with the right person at the right time. And you're going to have to outsource that, especially with the new plan that we have. We can afford to outsource that, Jason. We can outsource that and get live lead transfers coming in as much as we can. I'm not a big fan of web leads at all. I don't see a good return on my investment there. My acquisition cost is usually about $650 per item, which is ridiculously insane. Unless you have a 2-year sales cycle on those things. Then they start to average back down. But under a new startup, I would never go web lead, ever in my life go web lead.
That's all I'm doing.
The cost for those certain words, right, that are out there have gone absurdly high. So they're really buying crap and they're giving you crap. So live leads, organic live lead transfers are a fantastic way to grow your business. And you as an agent, you want to work on the process, work on the coaching, get your team up to above par, right, to be able to sell the value, and then get people in front of them and let them go to town and hold them accountable. And I'm telling you guys, this new plan is going to be freaking phenomenal, and be willing to invest in bringing the opportunity, and also set expectations when the opportunities are not coming in, and then make outbound calls.
People are just writing this down. They're like hitting pause. What did he say that way?
I agree 100% with everything you say except the web leads.
Oh, you had success with web leads?
I do. That's all I do. I won't do live transfers. My ROI on web leads are unreal. Great.
So I'm going to ask you a question.
Yeah. How long does it take?
No. What's your acquisition cost per item with a web lead?
Per item, what's 50 divided by 1.5?
That's 25. Wait, divided by 1.5? Why are you making? I'm an insurance agent, buddy.
Yeah. I'm not a rocket scientist.
What is that? So my cost
33.
Wait, you're writing. So $33 per item is what you're paying.
Yes.
In marketing. That is at $400 an item. Dude, that is phenomenal. You're making $7, right? Obviously, per item on your first, and then renewals, right? Mm-hmm. But on the ECP, it's exponential.
Right.
In that first 90 days, it's so exponential, and it's incredible.
So the problem,
the first 90,
are the best, because that doesn't include the time that it takes to call them, right? My ROI per sale is about $200 for the first 2-week cycle on web leads.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So you are generating your own web leads?
Nope.
Okay.
I'm buying them. I'm buying them from the most general company that, but you know, the broker,
the most hated, the most despised and hated company that everybody complains about.
But here's the thing.
All right, Jason. I think I just dropped 10 grand today with them. So I'm not going to be a hypocrite, but it's not web leads. It's live lead transfers,
which is great. You just cut out a ton of time.
Yeah, you're speeding up the sales cycle, right? Like you're entering at the 15th call instead of at call one.
Right. And I will tell you today, we had 9 live lead transfers. Okay. And if Jessica does it, we've written 7 households out of the 9 live lead. That is phenomenal. That is insane.
Yeah.
But other people are not going to have those same results because they don't step into it with the same mindset that you come to, right? Like they're like, oh, hey, and they're timid and they're order taking or they're selling.
Right.
You can't sell. Right.
Right.
Can't.
So that's false. Now listen, I had 3 years ago, I had a 40% close ratio on web leads. They just tried their organic type, web leads where they were organically generating themselves, and I was closing almost all of them. They're all home web leads, and then that dripped off because it wasn't profitable for the amount of money they were paying per lead, and then they weren't making any money, so I lost them. But there are phenomenal opportunities. What's your close ratio on web lead?
Really bad, like between 3.5 and 4.5%.
So the sales cycle is 2 years for you. Is it not? Is it a 2-year sales cycle on the other 97% or 96%? Meaning that you got them 2 years ago as a web lead and you closed them today.
No. So the sales cycle can range. So it's as long as it's in the system. That's why my acquisition cost right off the bat is like $200 for 2 weeks.
Right.
Sales cycle. Over time, those numbers were specifically from January 1st of this year till about a month ago.
Wow.
So in back to your point with mindset and everything else.
Right.
I just went I did live transfers, and when they got expensive last year, I figured out, and it didn't start there. It started at $300. Then I figured out how to get down to $250 a policy, and then I started getting it. You know what I mean? You do it. You just figure it out. And to what I love about what you're doing is you're all in on this, and you're keeping it narrow. When people go too wide, what we do will not work if I bought live transfers and I did web leads and all this stuff, right? Because then you're doing all this different stuff and you can't narrow down on what works. So,
yeah, I think if you analyze the data, what you'll do is as a new agent, I would go with 3 sources. I'd go with web leads, I guess. That's actually that's my third. My first option would be live leads, right?
Yep.
Second
100%.
option would be mailers. So I just dropped 20,000 mailers, and I have about a 1% response rate. It's right, 0.78. But out of that 1% response rate, my close ratio is 40%. My acquisition cost is
those are, they're hot. They called in and they're excited about the thing they're holding.
And you haven't interrupted their day. They set time aside for you. So I'm one call close on all of them. So So the mailers, people say I would never do. No, listen, find a system. Make sure the acquisition cost, you got to run it at least 2 or 3 months to see your acquisition cost. If you are below 250 on the new plan, you better invest everything you got in that. Okay. If you can get down on a mailer to $150 per item, guys, just keep going and just keep plugging those dollars away. And web leads, gosh, $33 an item. Listen, I almost wet my whistle there. I'm almost ready to go on some web leads, but I've experienced different. But everybody has different experiences. And then the live lead transfers, those are no-brainers. And I would go with companies that really give you the time to vet them and hang up, and they get credited. There are companies that are set up that'll bait you in on lower costs, but you're going to be stuck with 95% of them. And you're going to have a higher acquisition cost. So everybody starts thinking about, okay, I've got $100,000 that my dad gave me, and he took it all back. And now I don't need it in my account anymore. Now I got 20 grand. And all of a sudden they're engineering smallness. They're engineering mediocrity into their business plan because they got to start thinking about how they're going to make money.
Right.
You're just engineering a plan for failure. And that's why you see such a high turnover in agents in the industry. And because they planned for that in the very beginning, they didn't even know it. So If you don't know how much money you want to make, if you don't back into that and figure out what it's going to cost to get it done and how you're going to train, people think they're just going to open up on day one. They're going to start making calls to their friends and family and it ain't going to happen.
No, that dries up fast.
No.
Well, and then they get rewarded for, their mediocrity, I guess. The 30,000 they wrote, they're like, I just made, whatever it comes out to. And they think that all's great. And then it's a little less the next month, and then a little less. And then all of a sudden it's 2 years in and they're like, wait, I didn't make enough to pay my payroll.
Right. So the new plan, guys, honestly, if you're not at $1 million at year one, and if you have something around 750 per item to 800, you should be at $1 million easily before the end of year one. If you're at 400 to 500, there's still a way to get it done. It's just your acquisition cost has to be, I would say your acquisition cost has to be well below 250 in order to be successful enough to be able to reinvest and have retain those earnings back into the business and reinvest them back into marketing, continue to keep that pipeline going.
Right.
But you also have to put the pressure on your sales staff to organically generate opportunity through every conversation, right? Asking for that referral, making sure that the talk path is there to get that referral, to instill that value in the conversation and not just be a vending machine. And you got to hold them accountable. So all these agents that are LSPs are coming into it, right? Thinking, I'm just going to write all the business. When then they're going to have their, flunkies, their LSPs just kind of, waving in the background, right? In the wake. And they're contributing 10 or 15 items a month, and they're carrying the lion's share, where if they just invested in them, right, in marketing, and they coached them and they taught them how to handle the opportunity and create value, there's an exponential return right there that most agents don't realize until it's too late, till they're out.
Yep.
So,
and the third month into it is too late. Like, to your point, like if we're talking about the specific contract, then that first 2 months is it. Like, that's the time to go balls to the wall, not month.
Yeah. I mean, the fourth month you're making half over the same next 12 months as you do on the first 12 months from the first month. I mean, and that's thanks to Jason showing me this. But that's the thing, like, people aren't shown this. They don't know that.
They don't know it. The first 90 days, it's cumulative in this plan. So you better load up. The most you've ever written should be in the first 90 days. And that's it. If you deleted everything out of your plan and just had the first 90 days put in there, and you maximize that to like a 400,000, look at what it pays you.
Right.
Delete all that out and see. So running simulations in that plan in the EAOT all day long should tell you exactly how important the first 30 to 60 and 90 days are.
That's what they should do.
And the 60 days is the key, man. And it does. And if you look at it, it sets up that number that cash flow, it sets it up for the entire cycle. Those first really 60 days. 60 days is real. 90, yes, because 90 is still good. It's still in there. But the first 60 days sets up your paycheck for life.
Life. That is the word.
Yeah.
People don't understand that. So that's why I'm okay. I'm okay with putting my marketing in now. I'm okay with having to write my business to another agent. I'm okay with all that. Okay with doing that, because now when I hit September 1, I am telling you, if I'm not writing more than 15,000 in premium a day with the plan that I have and the investment and the processes and the training and the accountability I have in place, I'm not doing it. Now the same for me, the same amount of activity for you at 400 an item, my expectations would be around 9,000 in premium a day.
Yeah.
With honestly the same amount of marketing dollars spent. So that's tough. So I would know in your position, I would definitely be going with the web leads and really forcing those outbound calls in my agency and holding them accountable. And I would be buying aged leads all day long and working the hell out of those.
1 year.
Hmm?
1 year age.
The over year.
Over the year, yeah.
66 days, yeah. So I would be buying those at around 10 cents, and I'd get 4,000 to 5,000 in per agent as much as you can. You have to go to different age lead providers to do that, but you have those age leads running, and a lead management system. I don't know what you're going to use. Is 110% of everything.
Yep.
I mean, people are actually being convinced in their territories to run e-agent as their lead manager by their
I know, right?
It's so
Failure.
they need
it's like it makes me sweat thinking about the fact that like they're coming in with no phone system, no CRM, and they're not going to be writing. If they write anything, it's going to be in the 90th or 120th day, and it's like 30,000. It's like you're done. You're done. Like when I got all excited and then Jason and I were good to talk at the same time, which we always do. I like when you said that 90 days, like literally they should say the only way you own this agency is if you crush it here. Like just pretend it is really these 90 days, you know? I mean, and that's it. Like what if you don't own it after 90 days? How would you take all of your money and invest and plan for writing during that time?
Exactly.
Because you know what, you'll get it all back. You get 120% of the first month back.
I mean, your ramp up.
Thank you, Jason.
Your ramp up is this. And the problem is everybody comes in thinking that they're just kind of slowly ramp up because they're going to work their mortgage brokers. They're going to work their friends and family. They're going to work their quote sheets that they all gave them. And
that was 6 months ago, you know?
It's guys, Allstate knew what they were doing. They knew that to be successful as a new startup agent, it's all about the 30, 60, 90, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And that's where your success comes from. That's why they've emphasized it and incentivized it so much. So I looked at it, and within the first 5 minutes, now I'll tell you, I went to Chicago. I was forced to go to Chicago for 7 days. Sitting in there, listening to the business plans of new agents, I had to stop many a times and help people understand the importance of starting up correctly. And it ended up, I have a great group now that they call me and we talk a lot and they shoot ideas by me. But I'm telling you, even after I've spoken with them and tried to help them, they have mediocrity. It's the fear factor, right? They have that engineered into their plan. And unfortunately, half of them won't be around if they stick with that plan.
Less than half of them. I mean, the statistics are.
It's 25%.
A lot of people go into goals thinking, oh, whatever, whether the goal is high or low, you think that's the ceiling and I'm going to get close, right? So if you have this low goal and really the curve is low, 20,000 or 30,000 or whatever it is, if that's the bar and you're like, okay, well, if I get 15, I'm 75%, I'm doing okay. And it's like, no, you need to literally 10 times it.
Right. I have a little Excel spreadsheet that I will not share with anybody. Want to preface that. But it just gives me my acquisition costs. So it's just a formula that shows me how much I'm spending, what I'm quoting, what I'm closing, what I'm writing out of it, and just a quick acquisition cost. That's it. And that's all you need, guys, to help dictate how you need to spend, what you need to spend on marketing. But I would go pick whatever it is and go hardcore in it, go all in, and you better dedicate 15 to 20 grand those first 2 to 3 months. And then you can back it down. You can scale it down. You can see what's working and then maintain half of that or 25% of that. But you better come in, you better be ready to spend that 100 grand before that first paycheck.
Well, you get it all back.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, you get it all back.
Jason, see, that's why you can go into this thing so confidently, because you already know your acquisition costs. You already know what it is, and you can back in from that and say, okay, how am I going to make this thing happen?
Yep.
Knowing that, you can scale it.
Yep.
Knowing you can scale that, right?
Yeah.
You can get 15 LSPs in there, and just keep scaling. Right.
And that's the thing. And it's even more granular than that. Like, I mean, it's learning the scripts, the talk paths, the exact way at the second they come in there. They can change it a little bit after they've mastered it, but it's doing that. It's what's the onboarding looking like? What are these time frames? Like down to every second, you got to know what is going on. You got to know the formula for every bit of your agency to know. Like I'm going into this confidently, even though I'm very behind time-wise, but I'll make it happen. It's just because I just had a kid last week, but whatever.
Congratulations. You don't even have any bags on your eyes.
What's that?
Is that California living? Well, you don't even have any bags on your eyes with the lack of sleep. Oh.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I'm nuts. I mean,
he wears makeup. Those Californians, they wear makeup.
He does. And he eats a lot of avocados.
Avocados, buddy.
Cucumbers, avocados, facials.
You a big health nut too?
I was. I wish I was. I need to get back on the train. I injured my back, and
those excuses.
I'm doing physical therapy, but
mediocrity into his.
Yeah. No, it's true though. It's true. It does trickle down. But yeah, no, I need to. I'm doing a little bit, but I need to be more all in.
Right.
If you can't, you must. If you can't, you must. If you must, you can.
Yep.
That makes sense.
I like a pizza. Like I had a pizza last night. I freaking love pizza. Love pasta.
Well, that's okay. You could have a cheat day.
Yeah.
Those sugar highs are amazing.
So how about, I know you went into it a little bit. Would you say that there's a different AC or acquisition cost for each different lead type? Or do you just set a baseline? Like should I know you're not going to share your sheet, and that's fine, but what would you tell somebody going in so they have a little bit of a baseline to look at? Like, if it's over this amount, nope, can't do it, or I need to figure something out.
Right. And I think they won't know that data until the first, because your sales cycle, let's say you have a 2-week sales cycle on average, right? With web leads and anything that's kind of hot, sometimes is an average 2. Sometimes it's 1 call close. If you're good, you're creating the urgency, creating the need, establishing the value, then you're closing it. That's what you're trying to coach, and that's what you're trying to instill in your team. That's going to skew your curve, is it not? Yeah.
Right.
So, that's all you're trying to do is skew the curve. You're trying to skew the curve as much as possible. And I would say if you start looking at how much you've spent on creating those opportunities in your marketing in that certain segment, that however you want to categorize it, and then you see how much you've closed, right? Then you divide it by the number of items, right? And that's your cost per acquisition per item. Yep. And if it's above 250, think about that. If you need to write so much business and you're going to spend 250 per item and your item premium is 400, you are upside down. And the ECP plan will bail you out. It will, but it won't be bailing you out after month 90. You're out of luck on that one.
Yeah.
You need to be considering lower, but the first 90 days, I don't care. If my acquisition costs 500 an item, I don't care. I have to get that premium because it becomes exponential. It's cumulative. It grows and grows, and I get percentages on that on top of my 10% renewals. It becomes an amazing. I mean, I think at the end of that, I looked at it. At the end of my 3 year, I'm almost 200%.
Yeah. So
day one.
I would say here's the caveat to that. So yes, your acquisition cost can be anything. But it's speed. Speed is what you need for those first 90 days. Speed trumps the cost of per acquisition in the first 90 days. And then after that is when during that time, you better be squishing that price down. So if it's $500 a lead or $500 per sale, dude, spend as much as you can. Like literally borrow money and just do it as much as you can. You know you're going to get it back. But here's the thing is that you can only do that for so long. So that better be on the downward trend.
This is the problem, is people don't believe in their ability to coach and inspire and build a good team. So if they're going to spend $5,000, my commitment is to spend $4,000 on every LSP. And if they're doing phenomenal, I'll go up to $5,000 per LSP every month on marketing. If they're not doing well and they're not riding their bare minimum, then they fire themselves, and I don't have to worry about it, because that's it. I've set the expectations up front, what we got to ride in the agency handbook, and their commission plans are signed off on. They understand it. If they're not trending, if they don't hit their goals, it's unfortunate they're going to fall off. But if they do well with my commission plan, if they're writing 70, 75,000 in premium a month, which they will, imagine getting $4,000 of marketing help, right, at $825 per item, and you're being coached well. I'm telling you, 70,000. And it sounds audacious. People are saying, "Oh, this Ryan guy, oh my God, he just makes it sound." I'm not. Jason, you have the business model. You've tried. It's tried and true. You know what you're going to be able to do by putting that much more money in marketing, right? And by scaling that. So get your marketing first. Know what you want, and I would diversify into 3. I guess if you like it, I do some web leads. In my area, you'll find that they fail very. You won't run a good agency with web leads. With live lead transfers, those are really good for me. And then mailers. I'm not playing around. If I drop 10,000, I'm expecting 100 calls, and I'm expecting to write 40 of those households. And let's say the average household is 1.5 items. I'm going to get 60 items out of that. What's 60 times 875, guys?
I don't know.
Hold on. I'm doing the math.
4,500.
Yes, 52,500. Put 52,500, right? And those 10,000 mailers cost me 5,000. That's my average LSP. My average LSP better write 52,500. I'm spending that money on them. That better be the return. And that is what the statistics, what the math, what everything tells me. All I got to do is make sure I have great, fantastic LSPs. I coach them, I hold them accountable, and I spend the money on them because I trust, first of all, my process, right? That what I've developed. Yeah. And I would be in the office 2 to 3 weeks trying it out and making sure that you're running fluidly before day one, because that's when it counts. So, but that's the simple math, guys. I mean, think about it. $825 an item for me.
I would say anybody that's listening to this that might not be as A-type as, let's say, you are, or that doesn't have the experience, I would say just to let everybody know, mailers is more of a long-term play, a little bit more. There's a tail on it. Don't go in all mailers,
don't mailers day one,
and don't go in web leads. Like the best way that anybody without that much experience in trying different marketing techniques is definitely live lead transfers, because those are people that you're actually quoting that day.
Yeah. And if you're good, it's a one-call close if you're good.
Yeah.
So work on your talk path, create an environment where people are willing to listen to each other and willing to help and coach each other, and just pull calls, hold people accountable. If they're not being held accountable, they're going to take the easiest road and easiest path possible. What's your price? What are you paying? Let me check it out. What's your VIN numbers? Who's driving? Okay. Well, I'm gonna see what I can do to help you out. And I've seen people do exactly the opposite of what we're supposed to do,
right? In
order to kill. And it's just hold your team accountable. But I will tell you, if you're coming in with cost budget, now there is a formula. If you're coming in with a budget, you're like, I just can't spend that. I can't see myself. I'm engineering mediocrity, my whole plan. I cannot break. Okay. You are creating this environment, and you know you're going to be mediocre, and you're so happy with it. You're dead set on it. Buy age leads. Just buy them. You're going to like them. They have good emails. They have good cell numbers. Scrub them and call them. and then put them on a great lead management software. What do I use?
Yeah.
Man, y'all are going to think it's hilarious. Now, I've used.
Love it.
I know the answer.
No. I've used Ricochet, and I got to tell you, I can build out Ricochet in just a few minutes. Actually, I got very fluid with it. It's fantastic. It's probably one of the best lead management tools out there. It's amazing. Blitz, I've used that. I did very well with it. They don't have some of the tools that I would want, like texting and so forth. Follow-up tool, phenomenal. They're still getting their act together on a lot of other things. I think it's going to continue to be a phenomenal tool. I can set up a workflow in a few minutes with them. I've used Velocify. I've used DYL, and I'm not a fan of DYL at all whatsoever. So listen, if you want simplicity and you want something easy, go Follow-Up tool, right, with Lightspeed. If you want something that you need to spend several weeks on, go Ricochet if you have time to master it and understand.
Perhaps more than a few weeks.
It is the matrix. You're looking for the woman in the red dress every day, and I'm telling you, you have no idea why things start happening, and you got to plug. In Ricochet, you're plugging all the holes so that everything runs the funnel and runs the process and the workflows, and they don't trickle over to other workflows.
Right.
It's a process. I'm sticking with, and I've seen too many people just recently get let go. Allstate Lead Manager.
That is Blitz.
Manager. Huh?
That is Blitz.
No. I've used Blitz. And Lead Manager and Blitz are true. No, Lead Manager is the baby of Blitz. How about this? Try having something really, it's like having this perfect child and then having horrible parents that screw it all up. So that's kind of what Allstate has done.
Love it.
Right?
Yeah.
But I'm making it work, guys. I do believe that think about it. If I'm writing 175 to 250,000 in premium, there's going to be some eyeballs on my business. And I want to make sure that I am as compliant as possible. I see where Allstate's going with all of this. And I don't know if you guys have heard the word quantum. You've heard that out there?
Ish.
It's the TV show Quantum Leap.
No, it's something that Allstate's made up. So Allstate Lead Manager, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, will be what we're all using in the next year or two. We'll be using their phone systems, Lead Manager. And Lead Manager will go straight from the lead, straight to Allstate's quoting platform. And it'll all be fluid, and everything will be scrubbed properly, continually, and we won't have to worry about anything. It'll all be on Allstate's dime. But they will be managing all of it. So I'm an early adopter on it, and hopefully it will work in my favor. But if you're going to start up, you don't have experience, do not use Allstate Lead Manager. It'll stifle you about 20-25% of your business. But I'll be working in conjunction with a couple other things to make it work for me.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. One last piece of advice. What would the number one piece of advice you give everybody that's listening from all your experience, all your agencies, your multiple scratch agencies now? What is the most valuable thing that you think an agent that maybe a little less knowledgeable about all the stuff, like,
don't think you know it all.
Yeah.
I am regurgitating back to you guys things that I've been told and things that I rejected in my first agency as just maybe wives' tales. Just disregarded them. Find a mentor in this business and go work for them before you open up day one. And learn how to run an agency. You'll learn what not to do and what to do. You'll formulate your own ideas and plans, and you'll be able to see the light at the end of the tunnel, and you need to be able to call on that person when you're having a tough time or when you're having an issue. But make sure you're not necessarily with the veterans, the 25-year guys. You want to be the guys that are 0 to, actually about the 2 to 5 year, that have learned how to scale the business and grow it tremendously. If you can get some of their time and you can work within their agency, you will learn the best practices possible, and you'll learn things that you don't want to do. Make sure you work there 4 to 6 weeks to really get a hold of everything. And that way you can bring that in and know and have some sense of confidence when you come in to start your own agency.
Nice. I love it.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're willing to hire some of these people to come and do this for you.
I will. Can I mention other names? I'm going to tell you guys. I don't know if you know him, but his name's Rudy Sorovic. And he helped me and brought me in and showed me the way, even though I thought I knew it. He showed me the way to be able to scale this thing. And he showed me I can see the light at the end of the tunnels. I have no fear, none, no fear. Just because I've seen it, and he replicates it every day, and he walks the walk and talks the talk, and then he's allowed me to come in and actually start my agency within his agency with people. So if you're a mentor out there and you can do that for another person, it's a life-changing opportunity you will extend to somebody and show them the way. And it's the way all state agencies should be doing that for each other, lifting each other up, supporting each other, and giving them a path, showing them a path. And writing $100,000 in premium for them while we're doing that is always a plus, Yeah. So it was good for him. It was good for us. It still is good for him. And he was on the ECP as well. So I'd say if you're an all-state agent and you can help somebody in that capacity, that's what we're all about. I think that's what makes us unique.
I love it. Ryan, thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you, Ryan. It's always good talking to you.
That's bitching, buddy. The bitching jacket.
There were so many bitching nuggets. No material.
Just us. Just us.
All right.
Well, this jackass is out. I'll talk to you guys.
All right.
Thanks.
Bye.
55% of insurance sales producers say that they have had little or no sales training. Us agents focus on marketing to drive activity and often overlook the sales presentation. Improvements in mindset, shifting focus, rapport, needs diagnosis, value building, creating buy-in, and overcoming objections lead to drastically better closing numbers. The solution? Enroll your team in September's Sales Summit offered by Agency Vault. We will even assess your team to see which of their sales steps need the most improvement. Head to agencyvault.com to sign up before it's full.
Hey, thanks for checking out the Insurance Dudes. Hey, please subscribe. We got some really great stuff coming out.